Finito τούτον!
Πάψε, συλλέγω.
Okay, Sparta.
Welcome, visitor, to where Spartan boys become Spartan men. My name is Leonidas. I am a king of Sparta. But do not think me some idle aristocrat softened by luxury. When Spartans go to war, I stand alongside them, shield to shield. And my spear tastes the same blood as those of my men.
I don't think you're from this period.
I can't help but be reminded of the boy I used to be. I wonder what that boy would think if he saw me today. Would he be proud? Intimidated? Or would he pity the tired old man standing in front of him? But such thoughts are meaningless. Let us move on. The Agogi was Sparta's strict education system. The strenuous regimen took in the young boys and then reshaped them until nothing was left but the strength, intelligence, and resolve of a perfect Spartan citizen. I will find you once your visit has ended, and we will talk further. Until then, visitor.
呢個領隊真係好似去旅行啲領隊咁樣，係將你抌低喺個景點自己行。Archaeology and Sparta， 剩低啲咩咧？現代有城市嘅喎，起碼係個鎮嚟嘅喎。咁鬼黐線嘅佢哋啲軍事概念。呢個係山頂嗰座廟嚟。其實成個城市嘅佈局都係清楚嘅。因為我見好多遊戲都係整成咁嘅樣。應該係大致知道個城係點樣，雖然我覺得應該大幾倍以上，起碼多啲屋先啦，起碼住到1萬人啩。呢啲眼係近距離先見到。
Sparta was a Greek city located in the Peloponnese. It differed from other cities of the time in that it had no walls. Sparta originated as 4 neighboring villages: Patane, Limnes, Mizoa, and Cynosura, all of which shared the same political, military, and religious life. After 2 wars with the Messenians, the city's territory expanded even further. By the 5th century BCE, they allegedly controlled almost half of the Peloponnese.
都幾犀利啊！有2個名嘅。我諗佢個城市係冇農地喺入面嘅，淨係得啲屋。咁個農地就喺個城外邊。咁就會比想象中細啲所食。Persian pillar， 點解要 Persian 呢？
Sparta was a Greek city located in the Peloponnese. It did Sparta after 2 wars.
2016
The Messenians, the city's
即係咪佢哋
territory
去取
expanded
材
even？further. By
咁就係第二個 tour 嚟嘅，我可以唔使去住。
The Agoge was the military training and education program undergone by Sparta's male youth. Grooming men for war was one of the city's main priorities. Boys began their training at the young age of 7 and completed it when they were 30. It has been said that Spartan infants were inspected for weakness shortly after birth. If they were deemed too sickly, they were thrown into chasms. However, this information remains unproven. The healthy boys were considered suitable for training. When they came of age, they were removed from their families and were placed into service of the state. Their education included subjects like reading, writing, and even music. but was mostly focused on tough military exercises meant to turn the boys into efficient soldiers. The agoge was divided into 3 cycles. One for boys aged 7 to 12, one for adolescents aged 12 to 20, and one for men aged 20 to 30. Each cycle included different exercises for refining the body and mind.
7歲至30歲，30歲就真係練好耐喎。讀完博士都未到30歲啦，正常人。
Sparta played a large role in defeating the Persians during the Greco-Persian Wars in the 5th century BCE. They held their king Leonidas's glorious death at the Battle of Thermopylae in particularly high esteem. Because Leonidas was killed in battle, Sparta believed he died a good death and showed incredible bravery, qualities to be held as a model for all Spartans. This idealized bravery was embedded in the city's collective memory and was the main quality people strove for in the agoge.
古代係咪有呢咁？佢個樣好似仲後生喎，呢度嗰個。因為呢個唔係遮住個面嘅。可能靠個盔甲型出嚟嘅個屍體。咁佢係特登唔跟佢現代嗰個樣嘅。呢個太似銅啦，佢青銅嘅話應該似返金色多啲。古代嘅人都畫得唔錯。佢就要跑邊度都跑得。真係比賽先需要啲平地公平少少啫。訓練嘅話，邊度都跑得。
The first cycle of the agoge focused on boys aged 7 to 12. Each of the boys had shaved heads and wore light clothing. They walked everywhere barefoot, swam the Odyssey River all year long, slept on reeds, and participated in cult rituals for Artemis or Thea. The boys were grouped into herds, or agoli, and were supervised by older adolescents. Once they reached the age of 12, they entered the second cycle of the agoge. which aimed to integrate them into the society of citizen soldiers.
咁睇嚟 Ubisoft 設計個城市嘅時候係諗埋呢個 Discovery Tour 點行，真係每個地方配一個解釋嘅。7至6 century Archaic Greece。OK， 反而斯巴達嘅女人享受嘅自由係比較多，真係估佢唔到。我原本以為重視軍事嘅國家啲，即係會係比較似一個專制嘅制度添。唔可以用一個 general 嘅角度嚟睇啊，每個地方嘅制度要逐個方面嚟睇。
The Agoge's second cycle included boys aged 12 to 20. When they reached the age of 20, the young men were dubbed Erinyes and could officially serve as hoplites in the Spartan army. Until the age of 30, Spartan men lived in communal mess halls called Siskenia. From the age of 22 onward, they were permitted to start a family, but 30 was viewed as a more appropriate age to get married. Spartan men served in the military until they turned 60, when they were designated as elders, or gerontes. However, many were known to continue serving anyway, such as King Archimedes III, who fought in the army until he was killed in battle at the age of 62.
60年嘅人生都係打仗咁，好難突然停低。其實就呢個制度係幾神奇，係嘛？Hunt down and exterminate healers 咁過分嘅咩 ？healer 唔係佢哋啲奴隸嚟嘅咩？OK， 即係佢哋要剃鬚噶啦，即係攞把刀嚟剃。如果佢哋有啲近似剃鬚刀片咁細塊嘅刀片咧，就好可能流傳唔到而家嘅。可能係有嘅，因為整佢求其揾塊石頭。整利少少嗰邊都得，可能係有嘅，可能係有，但係如果個刀刃係磨蝕咗咧，咁 咁啲後人就唔會覺得佢係刀片嚟。唔知而家啲睇數刀係邊個發明？呢個地方唔係佢指我入嚟，我真係唔會行入嚟。
All adult male Spartans participated in communal meals called syssitia. The attending Spartans contributed different kinds of food on a monthly basis, in addition to a small sum of money to pay for meat. Each man was entitled to one portion of a meal, with the exception of the kings, who received 2 portions. Syssitia attendance was mandatory for every Spartan fortunate enough to be part of the group. The meals had great political significance. According to Xenophon and Plutarch, the syssitia was designed to foster a sense of equality between citizens. It also demonstrated the self-restraint and moderation of Spartan society. But in reality, the syssitia only increased the differentiation between the rich and the poor. Those who could not afford to contribute to the communal food not only missed their meals, but also lost their right of citizenship.
原來係咁，已經係人人食一樣嘅嘢㗎啦，理解唔到。一日3餐。fix 係咩嚟？之前都見過呢個字，但係冇打算查。Any tree or shrub belonging to genus Ficus. The fruit of such a tree or shrub. 即係大部分都係植物同埋奶。無花果 ，OK。其實係食，其實就唔食好多肉嘅希臘人。我聽講中世紀係食幾多肉下，唔知點做到。
Your tour has ended. As you have seen, the Agoge was not for the weak or faint of heart, but it did its job in producing skilled warriors and shrewd citizens. What else would you like to do? So you think you are ready for a test? Very well. Let us see how you fare. First, a simple question. The Agoge was made up of how many cycles? Correct. The Agoge was divided into 3 cycles. One for boys aged 7 to 12, one for adolescents aged 12 to 20, and one for men aged 20 to 30. Next question. How many meal portions were kings entitled to at Syssitia? Yes, Spartan kings had the right to double portions. One final question. When were Spartans allowed to grow mustaches? Yes. Once a Spartan man was over 30, he was allowed to adorn his face with a glorious display of manhood. Impressive, visitor. You should be proud. As you wish. Come this way.
又翻返嚟起羅多德。我依家 marathon 嚟。OK， 我唔記得 marathon 係邊隊打邊隊，應該都係希臘對波士嘅。咁後面會有一個。一場戰爭有9個站。
Welcome, traveler, to the site of the legendary Battle of Marathon. It's truly incredible that such a small place would have such tremendous significance. But then again, even the tiniest pebble can send ripples through the water. Marathon was the location of one of the greatest battles in Greek history. It was here where Athenians made a stand against the might of an imposing Persian fleet. Your visit will take you through the causes of the conflict, the battle itself, and its far-reaching consequences. I will see you again once you're through. Farewell for now.
Philippides。點解唔騎馬呢？佢哋？呢個係咪終點嚟嘅？其實我懷疑係。可能會兜緊返去。估唔到你啲樹都喺度。
In 490 BCE, 600 Persian triremes landed on a beach 35 kilometers north of Athens. Standing in their way were 11,000 hoplites led by the prestigious Athenian general Miltiades. The Persian forces outnumbered the Greeks approximately 5 to 1, and yet the smaller force managed to push back their would-be conquerors. The Battle of Marathon was a major turning point in the Greco-Persian Wars, and the Athenians' victory would be celebrated for many years. The modern-day distance-running event is named a marathon in memory of a soldier from the battle who ran back to Athens to announce their victory, though whether this is real or legend is uncertain.
30公里，咁點解而家係42公里？2500年都睇到大約嘅輪廓，都保存得唔錯㗎啦，算係，連啲字都見得返。OK， 都係騎射，都係弓騎兵組成主力嘅部隊嘅。 其實啲馬都跑到㗎，就算啲地形有啲起伏。不過如果有啲幽靈地帶，佢哋射箭就當然射唔到咁遠，會俾啲山擋咗啊之類。
The Persians wanted to invade Greece in part due to its rich silver mines. In 545 BCE, they came closer to this goal after their victory over Croesus, the king of Lydia. The victory forced some Greek populations in Asia Minor to surrender and gave the Persians a solid foothold to carry out a large-scale invasion. In 494 BCE, the city of Miletus revolted against its Persian rulers. They were aided by Athens and the nearby city of Eretria, and even burned down an important Persian temple. The Persian king Darius was enraged by their sacrilege, and in 491 BCE, sent messengers to the Greek cities demanding their submission. Athens and Sparta killed the Persian messengers, goading Darius to invade. The Persians began their attacks, first capturing the city of Naxos and enslaving its inhabitants, then taking the city of Eretria. Filled with confidence from their string of victories, the Persians set their sights on Athens.
竟然係希臘呢邊做嘅。阿卡米尼德。都係封建制度嚟嘅，其實古代啲傳信方法冇咁好，通常都係行封建制。好似中國咁要咁大個帝國中央集權嘅話，就要好多驛站去傳信，要好多馬負責傳信先得。都要幾日㗎嚇，我唔知喺中國揾啲馬跑，可以跑得幾快。即係我諗北京傳去上海嗰個地方都要起碼要3日啊。
The Greeks were surprised by the ferocity of the Persian attacks. Seeking aid against the upcoming invasion, Athens was forced to appeal to other cities for help. In a surprising move, they asked for aid from Sparta, known for having the strongest army in Greece. The Spartans agreed to the request, but they were unable to send reinforcements in time due to the religious feast of Apollo Carneos, which forbade them from leaving their city until the next full moon. The only extra help Athens managed to acquire was from the small Boeotian city of Plataea, which sent an additional 1,000 hoplites. This was the first time in Greek history that their entire civilization was under attack from an external invader. Despite sharing the same language and same religion, Greek city-states had often warred amongst themselves. The Persian invasion was the first time they realized the necessity of collective action to ensure their survival.
又有第二場戰爭，呢場應該唔係 Marathon。總之呢場戰爭就係希臘嘅重步兵嘅勝利，重步兵打贏輕步兵。咩嘅？真係存在嘅喎呢座山。唔知而家喺咪度咧？
The Persian fleet originally planned to land at the port of Phaleron. However, the exiled Athenian tyrant Hippias, who sided with the Persians, advised them to land at Marathon instead, where it would be easier to deploy cavalry. The Athenians were unaware of the Persian battle plans and left Marathon undefended. This allowed the Persians to quietly set up camp on the beach, while Athens scrambled to mount a defense.
竟然有本圖，冇計啦！希臘實在係分裂得太犀利。刀有冇咁大把？成隻腳咁長喎，呢把刀好誇張喎，長劍嘅長度嚟喎，呢個係。Phaleron 唔知喺邊度啊？係咯，喺邊？佢個地圖冇地名，都唔係地名嚟嘅對。呢個係地名，其他真係唔知喺邊。哦，Phaleron 喺呢度，之前去過嘅呢度。點解要用呢個地方咧？呢度仲有條河，可以運嘢添。 我諗緊呢啲，地方係咪喺 main game 已經去過？重裝步兵打贏弓騎兵又真係幾神奇，只能防守嘅啫嘛，佢哋係冇可能攻擊到弓騎兵。睇下場上點打落去。
The Persians' overwhelming numerical superiority forced the Athenians to get creative with their defensive strategy. The city sent 10,000 hoplites, along with the extra 1,000 Plataean reinforcements, to a hill located above the Persian encampment. Once in position, Athenians had to decide whether to wait for the Persians to attack or to strike them first. Athens' strategists believed the former option was better, but the general Miltiades believed a first strike was more advantageous, as the Persians had their backs to the sea. In the end, Miltiades' opinion prevailed, and the Greeks made their move.
有幾靚仔喎個樣。呢個係真跡嚟嘅，真係公元前5世紀。真係公元前5世紀喎呢個。OK。打贏仗都係唔可以為所欲為嘅。呢個係一個幾嚴重嘅問題嘅。Death of soft tissue， 咁佢應該唔可以繼續戰鬥嘅。雖然指揮應該得，因為古代因為行軍嘅需要咧，你冇翻咁上下嘅體魄，其實都去唔到個戰場。現代就可能得，現代啲無線通訊唔犀利，你都唔使去個戰場都睇。 呢個智勝嘅將軍竟然係得到啲咁嘅下場，好現實，但係唔係一個
According to
故事會寫出
Herodotus,
嚟。
the Greek forces charged at the Persians without archers or cavalry. The Persians were unprepared for what they saw as an act of madness. While they were able to hold the Greeks back at first, they were eventually pushed back to their ships and forced to retreat. The Persians suffered heavy losses during the battle, with approximately 6,400 casualties. The Athenians, on the other hand, only lost 192 soldiers.
咁搞笑嘅成件事。Without archers or cavalry， 我都諗緊點解佢哋真係靠佢哋淨係靠重裝步兵就打得贏，係幾神奇嘅一件事嚟嘅。唔係一般嘅勝利。呢個係 kill death ratio 嘅關係，其實佢哋萬幾人一定係打得贏嘅，打佢哋1萬幾人。佢哋覺得係希臘啲人唔會主動攻擊咯，因為個人數差太遠，但係點知，所以佢哋係毫無準備嘅，俾佢哋攻擊。我想象中就係咁啦，好搞笑，我覺得成件事。
The victory at Marathon was considered miraculous. The Greeks attributed this miracle to the appearance of legendary heroes who they allegedly saw return from the dead to fight at their side in defense of the city. For example, several Athenians swore they saw the mythical king Theseus take up arms at Marathon, a scene which would later be depicted in Athens' Agora. Similarly, some hoplites attested that Heracles appeared at Marathon, clad in his lion's skin and wielding a club. The supposed appearance of these heroes helped elevate the Battle of Marathon to a legendary status among the Greek people.
OK， 否則嘅話應該係幾百場戰爭嘅其中一場，但係打贏波斯帝國都係值得驕傲嘅，以希臘咁細嘅國家。威加力斯點死嘅？OK， 就係升咗天嘅佢。Behind the scenes。 嗯哼，佢啲戰爭全部都係混戰嚟，你都可以話係打到去混戰嘅階段，跟住個傭兵介入個戰場之後，先扭轉咗成個戰場嘅局勢嘅。其實都可以咁諗，即係唔係一開始打戰術嗰個階段就開始有傭兵介入。We need to show battlefields without explicitly showing a battlefield.
，After the Persians fled Marathon, they tried to invade Athens by way of the Bay of Phaleron. However, this gave the Athenians time to return to their city and mount a proper defense. Fearing further losses, the admiral of the Persian fleet called off their attack, and the Persians returned to their empire. Darius was furious at the campaign's failure, and decided to seek vengeance in a retaliatory expedition from both land and sea. Meanwhile, Sparta begrudgingly congratulated Athens on their victory.
我 feel 唔到人，我估唔到佢贏得咁神奇嘅成場戰爭，一啲戰術都冇。每個國家整啲人其實都差唔多樣，差唔多結構，係嗰啲圖案唔同。啲死咗嘅士兵嘅屍體都係即刻埋咗佢，都唔會翻到去，佢哋城市嘅墓地。OK， 雖然犯咗好多錯，但係最後都係帶返嚟 Marathon 呢度撞，都話佢最出名嘅戰役。
The victory at Marathon marked the beginning of a new era for Athens. According to Herodotus, Athens' success at pushing back the Persians ranked them first in the ongoing competition between the Greek city-states. The Athenians immortalized their prestige by erecting monuments in both their own city and in Delphi. The Battle of Marathon was also perceived as a blow against tyranny. Tyranny went from being perceived as a simple flaw in authoritarian excess to major treason against the homeland, a sin that rulers would take great pains to avoid being accused of. This helped consolidate the institution of democracy for the next 2 centuries.
OK， 睇晒未咧？Achilles and Ajax playing a board game， 係咪同年代嘅呢兩個英雄？Tyrant of Athens。真係成呀點敗呀點，成件事好有神話氣息。咁嘅轉折，即係原本都以為贏緊嘅波斯帝國，點知又係輸喺雅典手上。
I hope you enjoyed this look into the famous Battle of Marathon. It was not only a major turning point in the history of Athens, but also for all of Greece. Its repercussions would be felt for many years to come. Is there anything else you'd like to do? Of course. Let's start with a simple question. Which Athenian general led the Greek forces at Marathon? Correct. Miltiades led the forces at Marathon, and it was his strategy that helped the Greeks push the Persians back. Time for another question. Which Greek city revolted against the Persians in 494 BCE? No, I'm afraid Naxos was taken by the Persian fleet on their way to Athens. Try another answer.
唔係就係俾佢攞咗先可以革命咩
？Correct. Miletus revolted against Persian rule with support from both Athens and Eretria. One more question. Which other Greek city aided Athens at Marathon? Yes, Plataea sent 1,000 oblides to aid the Athenian forces. Well done, traveler. You have learned much. Very well. Follow me closely, traveler.
咁而家係溫泉關啦呢度。今次係打陸路嘅。
Welcome, visitor, to Thermopylae.
嗱佢又死咗喺度嘅，跟住問佢對呢個地方有咩諗法。
Thermopylae stirs many feelings in my heart. Rage at the Persians' arrogance. Regret that I could not do more. But mostly, I feel proud. Proud of my city, and of my men, who fought to protect the very soul of the Spartan people. For those few fateful days, they were my brothers. I miss them all.
佢係作為一個幽靈存在喺度解釋，解釋俾呢個遊客聽。
Thermopylae was where a courageous group of Spartans stood amongst other Greek soldiers and held off the forces of King Xerxes, the Persian. When you're done, find me and we'll speak more.
即係斯巴達以300人打贏，啊其實有6000人嘅，就唔係300人。300人係最後殿後嗰批。即係斯巴達係呢個以少勝多嘅戰役係最出名啦，但係其實雅典都做過同樣嘅嘢㗎喺馬拉松度。唔知現代有冇隻咁嘅嘢？呢個地方都有5個 tour， 一個 tour， 個 discovery site。呢個地方有咩特別？呢度有咩特別啊？Line up your lighters。仲存唔存在咧嚇？呢隻嘢8個站。
The Persian king Darius's cries of rage echoed for years after his humiliating defeat at Marathon. Even after Darius's death, his son Xerxes continued to seek vengeance against the Greeks. According to Aeschylus, Asia was emptied of all its men. Greek spies brought the news of Xerxes' imminent invasion back to their homeland. Afterwards, many discussions were had on the best place to mount a defense. In the end, the Greeks decided on Thermopylae. The area featured a narrow pass that could act as a bottleneck for the Persian army, negating their numerical superiority. It also offered naval advantages, offering the Greek fleets opportunities for flanking. 5,000 Peloponnesian Greeks set up at a fort near the entrance of the narrow passage, otherwise known as the Hot Gates. Leading them was Leonidas, a Spartan king who prided himself on supposedly being a direct descendant of Heracles. Leonidas was accompanied by several elite soldiers who together made up the famous 300 Spartans.
完全唔似希臘人喎，你哋畫出嚟嘅嘢。好鬼中意畫裸體嘅啫，佢哋。即係其實希臘人自己整嘅雕像都係裸體嘅。咁佢當然文藝復興就跟翻希臘人嘅做法啦。前面有兩個站。呢啲地方係全重點嚟嘅，非常好。
The Persian army arrived in the summer of 480 BCE, preceded by a flood of rumors regarding their strength and numbers. It was claimed they consumed 6,000 tons of wheat every day, and that they dried every river and brook they passed to quench their near insatiable thirst. During their march to Thermopylae, the Persians faced no opposition, and in fact, increased their numbers further by recruiting more soldiers from other Greek cities and places like Thrace. According to Herodotus, the last count of the Persian fleet was numbered at 1,207 boats, mounted by approximately 240,000 men. He estimates the land army, meanwhile, was made up of more than 1 million men. The Greek forces at Thermopylae were heavily outnumbered.
1910年 ，OK， 係有平原嘅喎。因為係輕步兵唔係重步兵。 OK， 真係有溫泉嘅地方。
Xerxes believed that at the sight of his massive army, the Greeks at Thermopylae would flee in terror. Instead, they deliberated. The majority of the Peloponnesians wanted to engage the Persians on the Isthmus of Corinth. Leonidas, meanwhile, believed it was wiser to stay put in Thermopylae. While the Greek forces debated, a Persian horseman was sent to spy on the enemy. He returned to Xerxes with surprising news. Not only were the Greeks not fleeing, but the Spartans guarding the fort were exercising and combing their hair. A far cry from the fearful soldiers Xerxes expected. To increase the pressure on the Greeks, Xerxes waited 4 more days, then attacked on the 5th. The Persians faced heavy resistance and suffered many losses, and Herodotus says Xerxes leaped 3 times from his chair, seized with fear for his army. The following day proved to be just as difficult for the Persian forces, and the Greeks continued to stand their ground.
輕步兵打重步兵，真係有啲送死嘅感覺。尤其佢哋冇其他嘢支援嘅時候，輕步兵其實都幾脆弱下。點解喺嗰度打陸戰呢？如果喺嗰度打陸戰嘅話，真係雅典已經係被攻陷㗎啦。
The Persians seemed poised to be held at Thermopylae indefinitely, until an inhabitant from the region came forward with information. He told the Persians of another route, which could take them around Thermopylae. A Persian contingent was sent to verify the information. While there were Greek soldiers stationed to guard the route, they were forced to flee from the Persians. Thus, on the 3rd day of the battle, the Greeks were surrounded by their enemy.
就俾人兜咗過去啦。唔記得上邊有冇睇到添。
Xerxes believed
OK。
the sight of his massive army, the Greeks at Thermopylae, while he not only were to increase the Persians faced the following. The Persians seemed poised to be held at Thermopylae indefinitely, until an inhabitant from the region came forward with information. He told the Persians of another route which could take them around Thermopylae. A Persian contingent was sent to verify the information. While there were Greek soldiers stationed to guard the route, they were forced to flee from the Persians. Thus, on the third day of the battle, the Greeks were surrounded by their enemy.
呢個又係真，呢個又係真跡嚟嘅，真係公元前500幾年。點解希臘啲王？因為希臘啲王成日俾人流放去波斯嘅咧？跟住又係同波斯皇帝結咗盟嘅啊！流放完之後。Wow, Greece was a poor country. 被流放過嚟，竟然仲講啲咁嘅嘢，竟然仲幫流放自己人講好説話，都幾奇怪。有眼瞓。
With the Persians both in front of and behind them, the Greek forces at Thermopylae realized they had two choices: flee to live another day, or stand and fight till their last breath. Most of the Greeks chose the former option, but some stayed, including Leonidas and his 300 Spartans. For the Spartans, dying a glorious death was one of the highest honors they could achieve. The few members of Leonidas's Spartans who did not participate in the last stand at Thermopylae felt that they had missed an opportunity for honor and either committed suicide or continued living under the mockery and disgust of their fellow citizens. The Spartans' last stand was not only for glory, though. Had they not held off the Persians, the Greeks' retreating forces would probably have been cut down by enemy horsemen.
得個幾千人。 都係全希臘都打緊仗，其實都唔止溫泉關一個地方。次次海戰都係啲風暴定政府。我之前睇過呢個日本對蒙古嗰個場戰爭又係笑鬼死。日本對蒙古嗰場戰爭啊，差唔多2000年之後，佢啲發展都係同呢場差唔多嘅。要落去嗰度，呢個係前面嚟嘅，咪真係要跳落去啊嘛？個鷹可以用啊！我落咗去上唔返嚟嘅。我睇下點一點佢，係可以睇到嘅，真係喺下面。啊！會咁。
On the morning of the third day, King Xerxes was assured of his victory. However, that victory did not come easy. King Leonidas himself fell in battle, and a furious fight broke out around his body. The Spartans fought to the last man, and when they had all been slain, Leonidas's body was brought before Xerxes. According to Herodotus, Persians usually honored the most courageous warriors, even if they were enemies. However, Xerxes was so consumed by rage at the Spartans' resistance that instead he cut off Leonidas's head and ordered it impaled on a stake. A statue of a lion was later erected on the hill of the Spartans' last stand in honor of Leonidas's bravery.
呢個真係公元前4世紀立出嚟嘅喎，佢咁寫的話，咁誇張。就係呢隻。但係Amphipolis 好似唔係呢個地方。 點去呢個地方？呢個係咩地方？又幾靚仔喎 ！Roman copy of a Greek origin。Okay. Research. 即係有呢個希臘文嘅對應嘅詞語。好眼瞓啊！好眼瞓啊！係咪應該而家停？但係睇到一半啫。仲有兩個站。陳仗啊打完啦，睇下佢哋有咩講。
Though they were victorious, the Battle of Thermopylae shook the morale of the Persian army. They had lost thousands of men, while Greek casualties only numbered in the hundreds, and due to the sacrifice of the Spartans, the rest of the Greek army had been able to successfully retreat and regroup. As a result, even as Xerxes set up camp at the foot of Athens' Acropolis, ready to get revenge for his father's humiliating defeat at Marathon, the Persians were more anxious than confident. They were more aware than ever that the Greeks did not fear them and were ready to die defending their land.
我全部都聽聽下就差唔多瞓着。唉。下面呢個嗰個遊戲嘅洞穴嚟嘅，點解會有嘢睇
In the end, the Battle of Thermopylae was still a loss for the Greeks. However, the battle gave the Greeks a boost in morale that carried them all the way to their decisive victory over the Persians in the Battle of Plataea in 479 BCE. With the war against the Persians finally won, the Greeks were able to honor the sacrifice of Leonidas and his Spartans with memorials and poems, forever solidifying the glory of Sparta's military prowess. The newfound respect for Sparta was noteworthy, because before the war, the city was seen as no more than a bully who forced itself into the affairs of others. Thermopylae changed opinions of Sparta for the better, and gave them a legitimate claim to be one of Greece's most powerful and influential cities.
咩要擺個銀喺度咧？冇關係嘅喎，呢個銀。
You've finished. I hope you understand the magnitude of the sacrifices made at Thermopylae. Without them, the Greek people would have surely ended as a footnote in Persian history. Is there something else you'd like to do? If you think you're ready, let's begin. First question. Who was Xerxes' father?
我諗緊其他人，其他名係邊個？呢個成日出現嘅。
Yes. One of the main reasons Xerxes invaded Greece was to get revenge for Darius's defeat at the Battle of Marathon. Another question for you. Which battle is seen as the final victory against Xerxes' Persian forces?
係咪遲早會講呢場仗嘅咧？
Correct. The Battle of Plataea helped put an end to Xerxes' invasion. One last question. How many Spartans fought at the Battle of Thermopylae? Yes, 300 of us stood against Xerxes' forces. You've done well, visitor. I have no more questions for you.
佢哋唔係有幾千人參戰嘅。我以為佢係幾千人，可能 唉，我真係要睇翻個人數先得，睇翻個歷史。
Then let us not waste time. Follow me.
我原本諗住係300人連合。馬其頓又係第二場戰爭嚟嘅。呢個係希臘對，因為呢個係雅典對斯巴達啦，呢場。普拉雅喺邊？揾都揾唔到。唉，我都係瞓。